This is LittleFoot the Leopard Gecko. She was the first co-host on Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles, and I realized there's certain animals in my collection I don't talk too much about. So let's go over the craziest, most unique reptiles that I haven't talked about in a while, and let's show you what they're doing and how they've grown. My name's Adam, this is LittleFoot, you're watching Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles, stick around. I might not have the most unique collection out there, but I think that some of the animals I have deserve more screen time, and you guys have definitely been asking in the comments section, how's this, how's that, how's Pikachu, how's your Dumerils boas, things like that. So let's go over from, I don't know, some of the cooler ones and the newer ones to the ones I really don't talk about, and in the comments section, let me know. Do you want to see a part 2, or there's some that I'm forgetting? Let's just get right into it. The first one's actually nameless. This is my Colombian Rainbow Boa, kind of a newer species to me. I only got this one maybe a couple of months ago. I put him on Patreon a little while back, and I just kind of revealed to the channel last week or the week before. One of the cooler species, I think very underrated, especially considering the Brazilian Rainbow Boas get so much attention, and these guys don't. A little bit easier to keep, don't have to worry about his crazy high humidity, they stay a little bit smaller. I just think these guys are awesome, and I wanted to throw this one in the list because I need a name. Please, please, put a name down there below. I want to name this animal, I just don't have any great ideas, so let me know. Oh, and I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I don't know. One of the most requested for sure, talk about crested geckos. I get this all the time, and I have 3. But the one that I take out, the one that I show, the one that's the feature in the Crested Gecko Care Guide, which you can watch right here if you choose to, is Yoshi. Yoshi's amazing, she's full grown, she is a frog butt, she doesn't have a tail, but it doesn't really seem to bother her. It doesn't bother me, I don't care. In fact, I feel less stressed out to take her out than I do with Charizard because Charizard still has a tail and he doesn't like being handled, where Yoshi doesn't really like being handled all that much, but is a great model for lenses and boom mics and whatever it is that I need to put her on to show off or just show her off with props. She does really, really well. They're in the enclosure, and by the way, in this video, I'm not going to show too much of the enclosures because we are doing a reptile room tour very soon. It just so happens that the reptile room that I was hoping to be done by now isn't done. It's across the hall and I'm terrible at drywall, so we're getting someone to come help me, but it'll be done soon. This animal is, well, I guess I got her in 2016, so about almost 4 years old now. This summer she'll be 4. She does really, really well. She eats just your regular crusty food, and well, she kind of looks the same as she has the entire time that I've had this channel, because she was 2 years old when I started, so let's move on. Peter the ball python. Now there's an interesting story with Peter and Persephone. We're not going to talk about Persephone too much because she's full of eggs, so I didn't want to bother her. But Peter is not the father. In fact, Peter is not the father of anything that I wanted there to be a father of. There's a weird story behind the clutch that I got last year of what he is, by the way, as a spider orange dream. You guys know that I don't support breeding spider ball pythons. I don't have a strong opinion about it. We're not getting into a debate. I just personally don't do it, but I did buy him with the intention of breeding him. And I chose not to because that was around the time that I realized that all spiders have neurological disorders, even though he doesn't show a wobble at all. At all. No wobble whatsoever. It just doesn't mean that he's not going to pass it on to his offspring, which is why I'm not going to breed him, which is why I'm not even sure if I'm going to keep him. I just don't really need another male that I can't breed. I already have quite a few ball pythons, which I'll show you coming up, some really cool ones, so I don't know. And he came with a bunch of mites, so now he's happy, healthy, mite-free, lives in a great enclosure. Okay, let's move on. All right, let's go back to some geckos here. Let's talk about LittleFoot, the little girl that's on my shoulder. The first animal that I ever produced. Now, LittleFoot is my favorite, I think, of the geckos that I own, just simply because she's the first one I produced. She is the nicest. She has these amazing purple colors. I love the purple, and I love the line, the dorsal line, the stripe down her back. I personally think that she's beautiful. She's awesome. She is just a pet. She is not a breeder. She does have 2 parents that I still have, by the way, Millie and Cheech. Cheech being the oldest. Oh, I should do some B-roll. We'll talk about Cheech in a second. But LittleFoot, she's a Max Snow. She is beautiful. Did I say that already like 4 or 5 times? And she's one of the more handleable reptiles that I own, which is what I love about crested geckos and, in this case, leopard geckos and African fattails, which we'll talk about in a second, is they're all very handleable. They're easy to care for. They're amazing. And you guys like watching leopard gecko care guides, I guess, because this video did really well. You can watch that one. If you want to know how to take care of leopard geckos, because I mean, everyone has one, and there's a good reason for that. They're amazing. We'll talk about one more gecko in my collection before we break into something a little bit cooler, in my opinion. This is Diglett. Now, Diglett is an amazing animal, an amazing specimen. She grew very well. I think she's topped out now. I got her in February of 2020. Actually, the last Reptile Expo that I went to, we don't have them now because of, well, you guys know why we don't have Reptile Expos. With her, she is in a PVC enclosure. We showed it in the last Reptile Room tour. We'll show it in the next one also. The nice thing about these guys is they're a little bit of a humider species. So I like that personally, just because bioactive enclosures are a little bit easier. Most of the isopods that I work with like a humider climate. So she does well in a humid environment, or more humid environment than a leopard gecko, although they're so similar. She's calm, she's easy to handle, she likes to be out. Well, probably doesn't like to be out, but I like when she's out and she tolerates it quite well. So I wanted to talk about her just to show off something that's really cool and less common and a little bit more unique than a leopard gecko. We can also talk about cave geckos if you want, but nobody seems to ask about them. So these are cave geckos and I have 3 of them and they're doing really good. Okay, the banana bunch. This is the banana bunch. Last year I had a clutch of, well, I guess it was half banana and half normals because that's how it works with Banana Morph. You can watch that video. I'll throw the description or the link in the description below. I have 3 of them. I kept 3 of them. Once I found out they were all female, I realized, well, maybe I should keep these and make more bananas because everybody loves bananas. And the crazy thing is, the father of this clutch actually passed away. The only ball python I've ever had die on me, ever. I've had tons of ball pythons and just very unfortunate, Zapdos passed away, but I did get 5 of his offspring. I kept 3 of them, and you can tell which ones have been eating and which ones haven't. And the cool thing about these ones, and by the way, they're all eating now. I just mean which ones started later, because they're kind of hard to get to eat sometimes, baby ball pythons. Now, some of these live in tubs. 2 of them live in tubs right now. One of them has a display enclosure. They're all going to have display enclosures eventually once that room is ready. I've got enclosures just sitting around that I don't have room for in this room, which is why we're building a bigger room. But you can tell that they're all different. They all have a different head stamp. They have different freckles. The freckles come in as they get older, and you can tell some of them are super freckly, some of them are not, and some of them have crazy, like, I don't know if it looks like a dilapidated frog or an alien face, but they have cool markings not only on the dorsal but on the sides as well. And I think that's cool how they all look unique. Before, I never really kind of paid attention to stuff like this, and I'd always have to really pay attention to which one I took out of the bin. Now, because I only have 3 of them, I know this one has this crazy stamp on the back, and this one is more freckly, and this one doesn't have, so I can tell the difference, even though they look like, well, I guess technically they are triplets, which were quintuplets, but there was 10 in total, so they were 10 tuplets? I don't know. I call them the banana bunch. I can't wait for them to grow up. They're all pretty handleable and don't really huff and puff too much. I love these guys, and bananas are some of my favorite morphs of all ball pythons that have ever been produced. This is Irwin. I'm not going to spend too much time on Irwin. He's beautiful. I didn't take a ton of B-roll. He gets a lot of screen time, but this is my Indonesian blue-tongued skink. Full grown, pretty handleable, sharp claws. Doesn't like to be handled too much, so I'll throw him back. I just wanted to show you how he's doing. Come on, camera, you can focus. His face is so handsome, it's hard to focus. Look at him with that blue tongue. Beautiful. Okay, maybe one more ball python. This is Pickles. Now, or Pickle. Pickle, we decided Pickle. Pickle's a better name. This is Pickle. This is the one that my friends at Snakery Bakery just kind of sent me. Like, here you go, have a crazy expensive ball python. Hope it works out and show us the babies when they're born. The most insane, anyway, check out their website. Like, the coolest thing ever. Thank you guys at Snakery Bakery so much. This here is here, let me make sure that I remember this correctly. Super Pastel Butter Lesser. This animal came from Mutation Creation. Absolutely beautiful. Ate for me immediately. The healthiest ball python that I've ever purchased. So no complaints. I love this guy. He's not the most handleable. He does like to bite at faces. Not that he's ever got me, but he's tried. He's beautiful though. I wanted to show him off. Crazy type of patterning on the sides. And I do have some good plans for him next year. I think he's finally at this point ready to go. But at the beginning, when I started pairing, I felt he was too small. I'm always erring on the side of caution. I don't make a living breeding reptiles, so, I mean, might as well wait another year. I didn't really plan on showing Cheech, although I think it would be kind of like a travesty if I didn't. It would almost be a crime, because this is the animal I've had the longest. Not just the reptile, the animal that I've had the longest. This is a big scary lizard, if you ask him. He's also fathered over 100 babies. A very brief update on Diamond, because, I mean, if you've watched more than one video, then you know who Diamond is. He's doing very well. I've had him for, well, I guess next month it'll be a year, and he is kind of the star of the show. The reason you watch his channel isn't because of this bald head, it's because of this beautiful spiky one, is my guess. Full-grown male, a little bit stunted when he was younger, I think, which is why he's so small, but it is a boy for sure, although it does have an exotic female dancer's name. Diamond is his name, and it's sticking. I love him. One of my favorites in the collection, the star of the show, and I don't really think I need to go much further. So let's get to something that you've been asking a lot about. Jimmy the Spotted Python. I talk about Antaresia and Dumerils boas too much. We'll talk about a Dumerils boa in a second, but for now, Spotted Python. This is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated reptiles, period, in the entire hobby. I love these guys. They only get to about 4 foot. You can see Jimmy is growing quite a bit, even though he isn't the biggest. He's not super big, I wouldn't say, but he's definitely much larger than the last time I featured him on the channel, and a lot bigger than when I got him. He lives in a display enclosure, something that I can't wait to show off once we get the room updated. We can do a full reptile room tour. We're actually gonna do a house tour. If you want, hit the like button. If you want to see a full house tour, hit the like button and we'll make it happen. So I've got like birds and dogs and axolotls and stuff that are, anyway, Jimmy's awesome. One of my favorite pythons. I love the arboreal nature of him, as I can see. Big Lou. We'll talk about Big Lou in the house tour, but the king snake is crazy. He just bites everything. Biting his water bowl right now. I'm watching him. Anyway, Jimmy's one of my favorites. You'll start seeing a lot more of him on the channel. I think I've given it enough of a break that I can start talking about spotted pythons again. I kind of beat that dead horse a lot. Okay, this is probably the most fun one for me because this is the one that's done the most growing since we really featured her. Cubone, or you might know her as Doomy if you've been a subscriber since, I guess, last spring when I started featuring Dumerils boas. I actually did a whole live stream with Doomy at the time, Cubone, in my hands. And I've got Marowak too. She's a little bit bigger, she's full grown. But anyway, let's talk about Cubone because she's grown so much. She went from being in a 20-gallon enclosure where she could stretch out the entire thing to now she's got her full 4x2x2 enclosure, so a full enclosure that she could likely spend the rest of her life in unless she gets a little bit bigger, because Dumerils boas sometimes do get up to 6 or 7 feet. In that case, we'll get her something that's 6 feet long or maybe even 8 feet long, but neither here nor there. For now, she is a subadult, juvenile subadult, kind of bordering, and she's just started eating a medium-sized rat. She's big. She is food aggressive, so you have to be careful when you take her out, but overall, I love this animal. Dumerils boas, you guys know, are one of my favorite species that there are, period, of any reptile. Not just snakes or boas, of any reptile. I love Dumerils boas. They're amazing. They're unique. I think I've got room for one last card. Here's a video about Dumerils boas. Wham Bam Bob's your Uncle Friend's your aunt. That's it. Those are the updates of this reptile room. We're gonna do a full room tour again. Hit the like button. That's how I know that you guys actually want it. And if you want to see a part 2 of this, because it's probably still a couple months away, the house tour, let me know when I can do a part 2. We still got to talk about like Bob and Attila, and there's a bunch of other ones, Burms, stuff like that. So let me know. I want to say a special thank you to everyone who took the time to hit like and hit subscribe. It costs you nothing and makes a huge difference to this channel. And for those of you who subscribe to the Patreon, words cannot express how thankful I am. You guys get extra content, videos early, discounts on the merch. You know about even some reptiles in my collection that I haven't talked about at all yet. So you guys are amazing. I appreciate everything that you do. I love talking to you on that platform. Diamond's about to bite my ear, so we're gonna wrap it up. And because I do videos twice a week, I talk way too fast. See you on Monday.